First, Pi explored the island. He sought out a handsome tree on the edge of the forest. He decided to sleep there and leave the boat to Richard Parker. Pi found it weird how Richard Parker wanted to sleep on the boat instead of dry land. He then left the boat with the net, a rope, and some blankets. He climbed the tree and started to tie the net to the trees using the rope. He laid the blankets on top of the net, creating a hammock that he could sleep in. Tired from tying knots and weaving the rope through the net, Pi lay down on his hammock and started to relax. Suddenly he heard a small squeak come from below.
4. After a moment of silence, Pi heard a faint scratching sound coming from below him. The noise seemed to be drawing nearer with every second. Curious, Pi slowly sat up and peered over the edge of his makeshift hammock. To his surprise, dozens of tiny meerkats were scurrying up the tree, headed right for him. Startled, Pi leaned back and listened as the strange little creatures made their way to his branch. 5. The first meerkat to reach Pi looked at him with curious eyes before hopping in. "Hey!" shouted Pi. "What do you think you're—" Before he could say anything else, another meerkat climbed in. He was followed by another and another, leaping in with no hesitation, and before he knew it, the hammock was full of meerkats. 6. Exhausted from a strenuous day, Pi was determined to get some rest. Meerkats or no meerkats. He gingerly leaned back, careful not to crush any of his uninvited guests. To his surprise, some of the meerkats followed suit and curled up next to him. Others climbed right on top of Pi for some extra warmth. Alarmed by his new living blanket, but too tired to argue, Pi shut his eyes and tried to get some sleep.
7th, he was laying in his bed after a long day during a pitch-black night as usual, and he wanted to see what would happen if he dropped a meerkat from the towering tree. He unclenched his hand and watched the helpless meerkat cut through the humid air. It squeaked as it fell through the air. When it touched the ground, it instantly made for the tree. It hit the ground with a thump, and its courageous self got back up on its little paws and made for the tree again. It scurried up the tree in a matter of seconds and lay down right next to Pi as it was there before. 8th, he wanted to experience what the meerkat felt as it hit the ground, so he figured he'd give it a try. He worked his way down the tree with his rope full of knots to make it easier for himself. When he was at the bottom of the tree, he brought his feet to within an inch of the ground. It was a terrifying moment for Pi, as he did not know how it would feel to descend from a higher elevation. He let go of the rope, and as his feet met the spongy algae, there was a subtle boom. A shock of pain trickled up his feet, and he let out a little screech. He brought his feet to the tree trunk and rubbed them furiously, which helped a bit, but he decided to go up to his hammock and find a way to comfort himself there. Finally, he reached his hammock towards the top of the tree after being shocked by his experience at the bottom of the tree. He wanted to relieve some of the pain, so he placed his feet in a bucket of lukewarm water that rested on his hammock. He felt a wave of relief as he dipped them in the bucket of water, but the pain was still present in his stinging feet. He had no clue falling from a slight height would cause him to ache so much, and he could only imagine what the meerkat felt plummeting down that tree.